No, you're right. I'm gonna touch on that. Something you said earlier when you was talking about hip hop, and I wanted to ask you, um, do you consider the music of today, is it even hip hop? Like, for example, like when rock and roll first came out, you had Chuck Berry, you had Little Richard. They dressed a certain way, they wore their hair a certain way, they played the guitar
Hmm.
a certain way, they sung about certain things. But you have punk rock, you have hard rock, you got heavy metal, you got soft rock, you got alternative, you got classic,
Hmm.
and so
Hmm.
forth. So when you hear mumble rap, trap rap, crunk, snap, even maybe even gangster rap, is that pure true hip hop, or is it evolve into, I mean, maybe a subgenre? You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about that, or is it all hip hop and is hip hop eternal?
That's a good
Sure, what you
question.
got?
Um, I think, man, I think it's still a form of hip hop. It's all connected in some kind of way, because I mean, there's some roots there that connects everything that what you just said back to some core elements that have existed in hip hop. You got a lot of times you have a beat, you have stuff coming in, like you'll have some elements of the 808 here and there. You'll have the elements of somebody who's probably like who's rapping on that stuff and just spitting a verse here or there, but somewhere in there you can connect it to what hip hop was about originally. Some of those elements, not s- I I do feel that you got traditional hip hop, but with a lot of things, some of the things that's going on today, you got some elements that's just got different variations of it, and they're just doing it their own kind of way. All in all, when you look back at it, I feel it's still, it's all connected some kind of way. So that's just my take.
Um, I think that I think that I think hip hop is at a point now where we could start dividing up, making it a different genre,
Mm.
meaning alternative hip hop. Like different. Like you got punk rock. Like there was a time where I'm sure rock and roll artists, and I think like what they probably would consider to be purists, and rock and roll had punk rock, and then all these other things start coming, and they like, yo, now that's not real rock and roll,
Yeah.
you know. So I think that at this point, hip hop. Remember, hip hop is the youngest genre. People don't understand. If you really want to know about hip hop, you got to do your research. You understand that hip hop was not always accepted.
Mm.
It's supposed to died out in 81.
But it didn't. They totally got that wrong.
Right. It's supposed to die in 81. But we went from country being the biggest genre to now hip hop being the biggest genre,
Mm.
right? But hip hop is only like 43 years old or something like that, right?
Dang, it's
So
just really been that. It's been only
it's
that short period of time.
it's a young genre,
Wow.
right? So now I think we're at the point now where we can start separating. Like it's still hip hop related, but
Yeah.
I feel like I really truly feel like um the representation of hip hop, there the creative part is missing. You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question,
Mm.
if I want to say that this is hip hop, some of it is, and some of it is not.
Mm.
I love Lil Baby. I think Lil Baby, I think he's hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But there's certain people in Little Baby's, like that's related to Little Baby, that's in his circle, or let's say the class of
Yeah, that's
this
much better than the
that are not.
class. Yeah.
Like they just came off the street. It's like some executives saw them with red hair, and they were like, "Yo,
Hey, that's my next hit right there. Walking down the
you
street.
gotta look, right? You gotta look. Let me bring you in there. Let me show you. Let me get you something."
Now,
So
I will agree with you on that. What you said about the creativity. Now, that's debatable about the whole creativity part. So I think a lot of like you said, I think a lot of the creativity has left hip hop because a lot of people are just what I feel is, again, this is my opinion. What I feel is what's happening is a lot of people are trying to emulate or copy what they see, what they saw some other artists do. And so they're trying to jump on that and just like, hey, it worked for this artist. Well, let me do
Right.
it. Let me see what I can go with it. So I can rhyme. I can kick a verse here and there, and it just keeps repeating the cycle. They're not trying to. It's not a lot of envelope pushing. You know, a lot of people are not trying to see what else they can come up with and trying to make a different variation of it or trying to see where they can take it. And again, just my opinion. So
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like though. Once again, there are. It's just like any time in hip hop, right? You had the ones that was really dope, and
yeah,
then you had ones that were not,
I
right?
agree.
The problem is that the ones behind the machine doesn't know what real hip hop is,
Because it didn't come from them.
or that's one, or they don't care. They don't care,
I
right?
I think it's
So
both.
so here we are. Here we are thinking. Here we are thinking. Okay, there's no real hip hop out there, right? But the truth is that they're just not being pushed, and they're not being
Mm,
acknowledged, and they're the ones who are not the best has a bigger following or a
mm,
bigger machine behind them. So that's just what it is. That's just
true.
what it is, and but I think we are in a space now where if we came together, if you have a podcast like my podcast, you have a podcast like this podcast, if we come together, we can all push, the ones that we want to champion and to get out there, So that's just, like I said, just what it is. It's just a harder fight for those who are real creative. It's a harder fight for them to get out there and be known versus the ones who are not creative. They have a pass right now. So
Mm. Makes it a lot tricky, man. I agree with you on that.